elementary where our preschool is right now, okay? But they handle that, and they bring them in in different waves. And then, of course, all preschools on the 27th. So just a reminder, here we go. We found out earlier, too, I just want to give really quick up-to-date transportation. We had a little hiccup this week. That's one way to call it. It's just that we had a hiccup. So if you don't know, we've changed from Versatrans, which was not upgrading their software package. So there was a time when Versatrans, which is the backbone of our transportation, routing system, etc., was probably the premier one. It hasn't over a few years, and they haven't been keeping up and making the upgrades that they need to. And TransFinder, the name of this company that we use now, is really kind of taking the lead in a lot of this area. And so they started to send out their mass emails. One of the things that you're going to see as a parent, it's going to be called Stop Finder. If you hear that term, Stop Finder. If you're a parent and you're using our transportation services, you should have gotten a direct email with a link to download that app. That app is fantastic. We used Mr. Fellows and his family as a guinea pig since he's got a few kids in the district. Once you do it once, all your kids connect into it. And what's really cool, I can't even tell you all the different things that it does. One of it is, let's say I live on whatever street, pick a street. You can tell this app when my kid or this bus gets to this corner, let me know. It'll send you a notice that your kid is on the bus right here. So you're going to get real-time updates where the bus is that your child is on. So again, the difference is you've got to download that app. It's easy, super easy, and it'll be fun once you get it up and running. But we didn't know there was a real issue until might have been late Monday, first part of Tuesday, when we realized some of these weren't being delivered. And what we found out in the company, I'll give them credit, they stepped up and said that was on us. They have since developed a patch on their software. So we started sending those out again, and just in one day had 1,500 new families download the app. So we know how fast. Now, is it perfect? I don't know. We probably all have. I'm sure we'll have a few more. And there's some people that haven't downloaded it yet that maybe their kid's not going until Friday. And they'll do it tomorrow. Kind of sometimes is a last minute thing. So if there's any other issues, again, I know they were inundated with a lot of calls. As far as we know, most of those are rolling. If there's issues, just send an email or contact our transportation. It's slowing down to where it's now manageable. But thank you to the company, and I want to really have a big shout out to our people down at our transportation building. Once they knew there was an issue, I think it was 10 p.m. before they ever left, the last couple of days. So they have worked their tails off to rectify it, and I appreciate their hard work on this. So, but as with anything, I will also remind you that with transportation, regardless of what you're using, it takes a couple of weeks for it to kind of fully shake out, because we have to account for everybody, but we know not everybody rides the bus. So as we determine and we hear nobody's going to ride this bus, then we squeeze them down. It could change some of the bus stop areas. So we consolidate and get it down pretty quickly. So again, thank you for your patience as we continue to move past this. One other big change, part of the biennial budget, was the cell phone policy. This is now in Ohio law. Good news is we were pretty close to being there anyway, especially elementaries and Nagel were really kind of there already. And basically what it does is, and the impact will be more the high school now, but the high school had really taken steps, and I'll give them a lot of credit because we saw it coming last year. We knew it was coming. It was a hard suggestion, and now it's a law. So, and that is, there's no cells from the start of the school day, first bell to the end. That means not at lunch. And that's the difference for our high school. You can't have it at lunch, or you can't have it at in between classes. And so since you got the governor agreeing to it, and you got the House agreeing to it, and you got the Senate, and they've all signed off on it, I doubt if it'll be overridden. So that's pretty much done. We just think it's probably the smartest thing to start off the year, get the bugs out of it right out of the gate. The actual law goes into effect October. It's 90 days after the governor signs it, but that's kind of silly to try to, it's like giving somebody candy and say, oh, sorry, you got to give it back now. So we're going right into it. There are some exceptions that they'll handle at the buildings, certainly IEPs, 504, if they're documented to be needed. Somebody's, we have some people say, what about, a medical issue, like diabetes, the little patches. Yes, we'll handle it. Those will run through our nurses and come up just for review to make sure they're accurate. So we've got it covered. Yeah.
How do you handle, like, I'm sitting here on my Mac. How do you handle, like, my phone's not out, and I can certainly get text messages right on my Mac.
Is that what
do you
you're
guys do
doing?
about that?
We don't let them
That's
use
one thing I'm
Macs.
doing
No,
right now.
I'm kidding.
Can
I'm
you not
kidding.
tell I'm texting? Texting from my I sense this board meetings.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I
my
get you.
pizza.
Well, it's not perfect by
I'm
any
just curious. I
stretch
didn't
of the
know if there's,
imagination.
is that going to be
Nah.
just up teachers?
We're
are
just
gonna
right
try to
now.
find
It's
it?
really communication devices. So, if you have an Apple Watch, if you are using it for time, that's fine. But if you're over in the corner acting like Dick
Siri.
Tracy, it's all right. Gosh, I aged myself there, didn't I?
You did.
Dick Tracy. I'm sorry. But if you're doing that, we'll probably have an issue. So, but we've already talked to our administrators. They'll work with our kids. Our kids are great kids. The number of incidences will be, I'm sure, very low. There are other places where I'm sure it'll be a bigger challenge. But anyway, that's a pretty big one, especially for our kids. But we gave them kind of some warning just so that they kind of knew. Finally, we got some great news today. Again, both of our high schools, we've got the information from U.S. News and World Report, and both of our high schools are ranked in the top 5% of all high schools in Ohio. That's over, I don't even remember what the number of high schools. There are 614 districts, but there's a whole lot more high schools. So that's some rarefied air. So congratulations to both Anderson and Turpin. Both high schools are ranked in the top 5% in America. That's awesome. So I'm super excited for them. Won't go into the rest of that, but I just think that's a big shout out to all of our teachers, because you know what? They started in elementary school.
Right. Absolutely.
And matriculated all through our grades and graduated from Turpin or from Anderson. So one of these kind of recognitions is really a recognition to all of our teachers and our staff. So congratulations to that. I just wanted to give a big shout out to them. Okay? I'm done. Thank you.
Very much. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Item 7.1, procedures for public commentary. The board is committed to conducting its meetings in a productive and efficient manner to assure that the meeting is completed in a reasonable amount of time while also recognizing the importance of fair and adequate opportunity for public input. In order to conduct an orderly and fair representation of expression, the board will provide a period for public participation per policy PO 0169.1 at every regular board meeting. Public participation will be a total of 30 minutes. Each speaker will have 3-minute time limit. If there are more than 10 speakers, individual time will be adjusted down to fit within the 30 minutes. The board does not discriminate based on an individual content of the speech or viewpoint of the speaker. If several people wish to speak on the same topic, the time limit may be adjusted at the president's discretion. Speakers should be prepared to respond to questions from board members seeking to clarify the issue. We have 2 speakers. Up first is Ann Zimmerman.
Thanks, Bob. Good evening. My name is Ann Zimmerman, and I'm here to talk to you about Anderson's Parks and why they are an important partner to the Forest Hill School District. I am the co-chair of the committee to pass the Anderson Park levy that will be on the ballot on November 4th. This levy will be a replacement levy. The current levy stops when this passes. This levy is 1.8 mil, which is less than the current levy rate of 1.9 mil. That rate reduction is a show of good faith from the park commissioners to the community about their commitment to fiscal responsibility within our park district's operations. We as a township passed a capital levy in 2023, which authorized the park district to make a number of improvements in our parks, like the new turf fields and lights at Riverside, or the pickleball courts at Kellogg Park. But none of that money from 2023 is allowed to be used for the park's operations. To operate, maintain the fields, pay staff, and run programs, the park district relies on the operating levies that it has had in effect for decades. Unlike many other levies in Ohio, park levies actually expire after 10 years. That is an essential point to understand in making your choice in November. The school levies are continuing levies, as you are all aware. The park levy is not. If this ballot issue does not pass, the parks will lose their main source of revenue next year. They will no longer have the funds to maintain our parks and operate as a district as they do now. There is a direct connection between the Anderson Park District and the Forest Hill School District. Today I will share a couple of those connections with you, and I will be back next month to share a few more. Number one, the parks act as a feeder system for school athletics. Many of our student athletes at Turpin, Anderson, and Nagel first discovered and developed their athletic skills through youth programs offered by the Anderson Park District. These programs, whether soccer, baseball, tennis, or others, serve as a feeder system into our school teams, helping students build foundational skills, confidence, and a love for sports from a young age. And number two, there is a direct use of park facilities by school teams. Our schools actively rely on Anderson Park facilities. Turpin and Anderson high school teams use Clear Creek, Riverside, and Veterans Park for soccer, baseball, and softball. I believe Turpin's football team has also practiced at Riverside in the past when their field space was tight. Nagel Middle School uses the Juliff Park tennis courts for both boys and girls tennis. Our Anderson Parks are essential extensions of Forest Hill School District's athletic infrastructure. Please vote yes for the Anderson Parks in November and go to www.preserveandersonparks.org for more information or to support our campaign. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I'll see you again next month with more ways that we work together.
Thanks, Ann. Hey, Ann, real quick, are there also some social media pages or?
We're getting the social media up and running now.
Okay.
As you know, we're all volunteers and learning as we go.
Okay.
So we have the webpage up, and we have lit now, and we have signs being ordered, and we'll have social media presence. So we would love it if you, I know you can't, as an official group, support a levy, but there's lots of people listening tonight who can, and all of you as individuals can stand up and publicly say, as a resident, we support the parks, and that would mean so much to pass this levy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Up next is Jeff Nye.
Hey, Jeff Nye, 1000 Eversole. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone had a good summer. Stop Finder, we had some glitches the other day. I think Stop Finder is the 10th different way the district communicates with me. When Parent Square came out last year, I think the promise was we were going to reduce the number of ways we're communicating with parents. I hope you can find a way to get Stop Finder integrated with Parent Square so I can delete just any one app off my phone. All that's neither here nor there. It's not really what I talk about. Stacy's kids go back tomorrow. I'm a little jealous. My kids, who I love dearly, don't go back till Friday. I'm ready to get them out of the house. But they've actually been in school for a little while already. My 8th grader is a web leader, so she was in the building 4 days last week. I was over at Nagel on Monday for the convocation representing the foundation. I was here yesterday for the foundation for their back-to-school event. Then I went to Nagel for the foundation for the back-to-school, and then I walked around Nagel with my 8th grader to meet all their teachers and everything. It's just, all I really want to say is it's great to see everyone so excited to be back at school. The kids are thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled the kids are there too. And the teachers are very excited to see everyone. I saw a lot of you at various events there too, and some of the board members as well. So thanks to everyone who puts on these events, gets the buildings ready, and I hope we have a great year ahead of us. One thing I want to mention that Stacy maybe didn't, we are still accepting teacher grants for the foundation through Sunday, so teachers, get your grants in. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Item 8.1, Human Resources. Mr. Fellows, you're back up.
Good evening again. Straightforward HR report, which is always nice. We have item A is a fairly extensive list of appointments. It includes a handful of last-minute additions on our certified side, classified employees, as well as some substitute employees, and then a whole host of supplemental positions. Speaking of web and those transitions, both web and link at the high schools, and we appreciate the foundation's support in some of those positions as well. Just the transition is such a critical time, and there's a whole bunch of hands in the cookie jar making that happen. So great things there. I included a note on the draft of the HR report. I just want to call it out just so it's to your attention. One update since the draft went out last week is simply with respect to how we do drivers in training. Obviously, you all are well aware of the difficulty in finding bus drivers in our current climate. It's not unique to us, not unique to Ohio, but it is a challenge. As of yesterday, the numbers we received from Richard, we have 54 routes, we have 50 drivers, we have 3 of those 50 who are out on long-term medical leaves, and we just got a text yesterday afternoon with another injury and a need for a leave, so it is a challenge to say the least. One of the things that we have tried to explore is the drivers in training. Historically, we've not been able to pay them until they complete their training because we consider them to be, we hire them as drivers and they aren't actually licensed to be drivers, which is a bit of an issue. Not many people can leave a position and then wait, the equivalent of, full 2-3 weeks and not get any pay. So the title of those, just for those trainees, those as they come in and they're in that training period, we've got that adjusted to transportation personnel, and you'll see 3 individuals listed currently. And moving forward, there's no change in terms of the cost of the district. It is for services rendered, but rather than deferring, say, for a 30-day period before you get paid for some of the training, the 30 hours of training, we'll pay you along the way. as a transportation personnel, a driver in training, essentially, after which time we would move you to a full-time employee, and you'll be licensed and there wouldn't be an issue. So I just wanted to mention that because it happened rather late and I didn't want that to go unnoticed. And also another example of just times that we're attempting to try to mitigate some of the labor issues on the transportation side of the equation. Item B, number of employees listed in the exhibit. Forgot to mention we're starting the consent agenda, jumping back. And then we've got a handful of student teachers for approval for this year as well. No substantive changes on item D, job descriptions. Those are purely technical changes, and so no major changes to report there. Any questions?
Would it be beneficial at all to start the bus drivers at a higher salary?
You know, it's an interesting question, and I think if you ask the drivers, and we did several years ago, I mean, after saying, well, yeah, I mean, that would be great.
Right.
Our pay comparative to industry rates is competitive.
Okay.
We do those salary studies, you know, regularly, and it is a mixed bag. You've heard me say it before in terms of, you know, who we're actually recruiting, what the audience is, and there's a number of factors that go into, you know, all of that. So obviously salary is certainly one of them, but I'm pleased to report that although we're not leading the pack in the state of Ohio in terms of the highest pay, we're certainly right in there and very competitive, above average in terms of that salary. Good question, though. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 8.2.
Oh.
Mr. Fellows? Welcome back.
Not used to a second one. Item 8.2 is also a technical change on the compliance officers. That's all. And that is in part in response to Betsy Ryan's retirement last spring. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Business operations, item 9.1. Mr. Eckert.
Normally, I'd try to give Mr. Fellows a hard time for talking too much, but he was trying to help my department with the change, so that's a good thing. Now, I really do, before I get to my agenda items, I really do want to express, you know, publicly a thanks to Richard Porter, Sarah Gecke, and Christy Nagel. The amount of hours those three have been putting in throughout this entire transition process and in this past 2-week period is an obscene amount of time. And I just wanted to say, you know, we would not be opening school tomorrow, or transporting kids at least tomorrow, if they didn't put in all the effort they did. So I want to make sure to thank them publicly. Okay, now on to my agenda items. I have 5 agenda items. The first one is something you've seen on a regular basis, resolution declaring impractical transportation to certain non-public schools. If you look at your attachment, the blue students were the new students added for this month. And 9.2, this is an annual item where we place the bus stops for the school year, but it also, this is the key factor of this resolution, it gives the authority to the superintendent or designee to alter and subsequently change bus stops throughout the year for efficiency purposes. And as Mr. Hook shared earlier, this is a very fluid event, the bus stops, and so after the next, 3-4 weeks, they will be refined and changed. And then, of course, we, get certain move-ins and stuff throughout the year. We may have to add stops or reroute stops. So that is item 9.2. 9.3 is also something the board members have seen over a number of years, is permitting us to work with the EPC to do our bus bid advertising and purchasing through it. As part of the capital plan, we do have scheduled more buses every year to work our cycle, so that is that resolution with that EPC. The fourth 9.4 is something, I guess, Ms. Jonas and Mr. Bibb were here last time we did this. It's the YMC before school, after school program. They offer a great cost-effective product to our parents, so we definitely want to keep them as valued partners. So that's the 2-year agreement. And
How many
the-
schools is that across? I know there has been times we've been able to provide that in all the elementaries and time when we haven't been able to.
Again, that's a little bit in flux right now also because last year they did combined schools and they were able to provide transportation shuttles from the morning to the, to get the kids to their regular school. They're in a situation too, they can't provide shuttles either, so they're working on their enrollments and it will be a cost-effective whether they can enroll or not.
Okay, thank you.
If a parent would provide that transportation, I'm sure the YMCA would have no problem, but there is no way we can provide that transportation. Any other questions on that one? Okay, cool. The last item is the 9.5, a lease agreement with Seven Hills Church. The original agreement was a 5-year agreement. It has come up. A couple key things in here. The nature of the agreement is increased. We have raised the rent to $4,000, which is basically a 25% increase. They're great partners with us, and we just did some little solidifying in the contract of areas of usage and stuff like that. The first one was open because no one really knew what we were going to do, so we just wanted to get it wired a little more tight. And those 5 items are mine, so at this time I'd like to recommend the board approve 9.1 to 9.5 as part of the consent agenda. If there aren't any questions, yes, sir.
Yeah, John, this comes up seemingly every time we talk about the impractical transportation,
Yes,
but
sir.
it's always someone's first time watching this. It's part of state law and Ohio Revised Code that the public school district must provide transportation
Correct.
to all students living in their district, even if they're going to private schools.
Correct.
And in this case, there are students that go to private schools that it's more financially beneficial to the district to pay them gas mileage than bus, say, one student 30 minutes away to a school.
Correct, yes. And it is actually a flat fee that we pay to the people. There are a number of schools that it's just not economically viable for us to run one student or 2 students
Yep.
to that. So yes, that is the process.
And then relatedly, we are also following legislation I've seen put forth that would suggest this will no longer be an option for public schools to offer payment in lieu, that there would be an expectation of busing every single student, even if it's one student on a bus 30 minutes away. So just as an awareness piece, that is something else that has been put forth in Columbus in recent months, and we are watching to see where it leads.
And we don't want that.
We don't want that, no.
I mean,
Public school wants it.
No.
Mr. Porter makes something viable, and the challenge is, as long as it's viable for district and viable for the students too, because at times what can happen is a lot of extremely long runs for students too.
Right.
And that's not good for the
Absolutely.
student either. So we don't need young kids on buses for an hour plus.
How many
So-
buses are in the fleet, John?
Please, our fleet,
73.
we are at 63 buses. Please don't quote me 100% on this. 63 buses, 61 buses, 53 routes. So those are spare buses and everything like that, because inevitably a bus breaks, so we've got to get
Did we
them on
lose
the
that one that was wrecked, or was it able to
Uh,
be serviced?
The update on the wreck is right now it's still impounded.
Oh.
We, it's part of a criminal investigation, but once we were able to secure the scene and everything was good and people, Spencer, our head mechanic, obviously was on site for an issue like that. His gut, and this is strictly a gut, does not believe the frame was compromised, so it would not be a total. So hopefully, once we get it back, the State Highway Patrol is actually trying to help us get it back quicker because they know we need it in our fleet. But it's under CPD, Cincinnati Police Department at this time, and they have to do their investigations too, so. But I can just say, I've been doing it 35 years, you know, not just transportation, but I've seen some nasty bus stuff. But when I jogged down the road to get to the bus and I saw that car, it was one of the worst looking wrecks I'd ever seen. There was basically nothing left of the car, and our students, our driver, and our aide that was on the bus, other than emotionally, they're rock solid. We drive yellow tanks, and it's a good thing. Any other questions?
And then with regard to the Seven Hills lease, I understand it's been an increase in cost. I just don't have a lot of comparison points for renting out space in our building. Is this comparable to what we would expect for renting space to others, for other religious institutions renting spaces elsewhere?
Yes, it's a unique, the Seven Hills contract is a unique beast because it's a long-term setup with finite meat. We have had other church services and stuff, you know, do a few things at Turpin and stuff, but no one's ever wanted to go into a long-term lease agreement with us. There's some stopgaps, some holiday things. But as far as, you know, whether if we have La Dance Studios, I don't even think they exist anymore, but La Dance Studios, you know, come and rent the stages, the prices are comparable. But, you know, obviously, with everything that Seven Hills does for us, too, there's a lot of like-in-kind exchanging that they do with the service projects and stuff. They've been awesome partners. So it's a win-win situation for both the district and the church.
We're charging $1,000 per week effectively.
Yes.
Sunday morning when we're not doing anything else with the space, so.
Correct,
Incrementally,
yes.
I mean, it's all free revenue with not much cost.
Yeah, it works out well for us, so.
Thank you.
If nothing else, I will say, Mr. Ogden.
Up next, 10.1, teaching and learning. Chuck Ogden.
Good evening, everybody. I have two items on this evening's agenda. First would be to approve the agreement with ASM Global, which is the Truist Arena at Northern Kentucky University for this upcoming year high school graduations of both Turpin and Anderson High School. Any questions in regards to that agreement with
I'm assuming
ASM
it's pretty
Global?
much the same as past years.
I'm sorry, what?
Pretty much the same agreement as past years.
Yeah, same agreement. There was some minute changing of costs and stuff, but we actually came out a little on ahead, but nothing to really brag about. So, but yeah, same agreement.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. Item 10.2 is actually pretty cool and exciting. Normally the field trips are pretty chill, you know, hey, we have it set up, but this came in actually at the very end of July for Anderson's varsity boys golf team, because as you know, they won the ECC last year and made it to the state tournament and awesome stuff. They were invited to the Kylie Cup in Cleveland at the Canterbury Golf Club. First time we've been invited. It's the top 75 golfers, male golfers in the state. So it's with a number of powerhouse golf teams. So just really excited that we were invited, it's invite only, and that we're able to pull this off. So really cool experience for our golfers as we head into the season, actually during the season. So what better way than get a couple rounds at a premier country club? So, any questions with that? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck.
Item 10.3, Mr. Buck.
It's pretty exciting to start back to school tomorrow and Friday, and I am bringing Camp Kern in May, and Dr. Ogden is bringing graduation in May. So a lot of planning goes into both of those. So I am bringing Camp Kern for all of our 5th grade students. This will be April 27th through the 29th for Maddox and Sherwood this year, April 29th and May 1st for Air and Sherwood, May 6th through the 8th for Mercer and Wilson. This will remain the same cost as last year at $175. We do have provisions in place for full and partial scholarships at the building level if need be. I ask that you approve the 5th grade Camp Kern overnight field trips. Any questions?
And there's shirts included and all that.
Shirts are included, yep. Everybody will get a shirt. Good.
Thank you, sir. 10.4, Mr. Roth.
Good evening, board members. I have a couple annual contract renewals to discuss with you this evening. 10.4 is the renewal of an annual service contract. It's the partnership between Hamilton County Educational Service Center and Immaculate Heart of Mary School and their use of various federal funding allocations that flow through our district. 10.5 is the renewal of an annual service contract with Cincinnati Occupational Therapy Institute to provide services at Ohio Valley Voices for a student educational placement there. And 10.6 is the renewal of an annual service contract for a student placement at Ohio Valley Voices. OVV provides specialized services for students with significant hearing loss or deafness, and it's a placement through an IEP there. Any questions on those contracts?
With the IHM contract, Alana, you've mentioned before on this, these are the federal funds, and we serve as the, what's the term you've used before?
These are a combination of state funds, so 401, Fund 401 on your cash position report.
Right.
And then the IDEA, I think I've looked at the contract, they set aside a bit that has to go to IHM, and the 401 funds we wouldn't get. We get those from the state for IHM. Those
Right.
aren't funds we would otherwise be able to use for Forest Hills.
Good.
We're like a conduit in that. I mean,
It's
this is right
for
through us, right
fiscal
through them.
agent,
It's
yeah. Fiscal agent, used to
Fiscal
be the
agent, that's the
public,
word. Yeah.
treasurer had to be the fiscal officer for all private schools within our geographical area, but the state changed that a few years ago, and they allow the private schools to choose if they want to get their money directly. So Miami Valley chooses to get theirs directly. IHM still has it come through us.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
No other questions. It's recommended the board approve items 10.1 through 10.6 as part of the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, well done. You can breathe now.
That was awesome. 11.1, the treasurer's report. Ms. Cropper, please.
All right, well, we have 2 months to report to you tonight since we don't have a regular board meeting during the month of July. So the first reports we're going to go over are for the month of June 2025, and that's the last month of our fiscal year 25. So again, the first slide, starting with slide A, is donations. And you can see during the month of June, we received $64,000 in donations, which brought our total donations for the fiscal year to just under $615,000. That's an 11.4% increase over fiscal year 24. So thanks to all of our donors, and district has wonderful supporters that keep supplementing our programs.
Alina, how much of that is the sports partnership with, what is it?
Cincy?
Is it
Yeah, they get,
200,000 or?
so, let's see, John, remind me if I'm wrong, but the high schools get 50,000,
Yeah,
so we get
each
200?
High school, each building will
Mhm.
receive $50,000 for their coffers.
Secondary.
And then I receive
50.
for district athletic purposes.
Okay, and that's
Yeah.
included here in the donations?
It is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Slide item B gives you the snapshot of the May 25 forecast. Item C presents the general fund, our 5-year forecast revenues by comparing our estimate on the May forecast to year-to-date actuals. And you can see on this slide the largest single source of funds for the school district is local funds, the majority of that being property taxes. Item D presents the general fund, our 5-year forecast expenditures, again by comparing estimate to actuals. And as you can see there at year end, we were right at 10. Need to call it up so I can look at it. Sorry about that. Our end of the year expenditures, wrong report. Sorry about that. Let's get the right report up. Right at $100 million. So we cracked the $100 million mark for our fiscal year 25.
Alana, are
Yep.
there any encumbrances that are included in that number that we expect to expend within the first 60, 90 days of the next fiscal year? Or is that all actual cash out of pocket?
That, what we have on this spreadsheet is actual cash
So there's no
out of
encumbrance
pocket.
numbers or anything like that?
Not in that, but the, if you look at the cash position report, it has the
Okay.
encumbrances
Yeah, I
on
know,
it.
that's what
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And really, the encumbrances are when we prepare the gap report, they are supposed to be things that will be liquidated within the next 60 days. So you're right there, yeah. So moving on from the expenditures, item E presents the activity of the general fund cash balance, and the balance at the beginning, last July 1, 2024, was $23.3 million. And after adding revenues and expenditures during the year, our cash balance at June 30 stands at $31.2 million. So, or put another way, as you can see on the slide, we can operate the district for 112 days, but after the million of encumbrances, we can operate for 108 days. One of the things to notice on this slide that I wanted to point out, the district finished the years with our revenues exceeding our expenditures, so a budgetary positive variance of $7.9 million. So that positive budget finish is thanks to the community support at the polls at our last levy. That last levy brings in a little bit over $8 million, so we would have been in a deficit funding situation this year if not for those levies. So always good to mention that, and thanks so much for our wonderful community support, both at the polls and with donations.
So Alana, not just, I mean, that's a huge piece that we have this surplus, but also that the surplus is 108 days, which is in line with recommendations, not just for businesses, but for adulting, of having about 3 months worth of cash on hand in case of a crisis or some other situation. So the amount we have is not hugely disproportionate to that. It's right in line with what we would expect to have to be fiscally responsible as a district. Is that a fair statement?
That is a very fair statement, and we have 31 million, which is about 31% then of our expenditures, well under what the state would consider to be, during the budget process, they were looking at a school district should not be over 40%. So we're well under that mark as well. Moving on to item F, this presents the detailed activity for the main permanent improvement cost center. One of the things I want to mention is we were talking about, John was talking about the Seven Hills lease. This particular slide is the main permanent improvement fund. So if you look at your cash position report, it's going to be 003-000, and that's what this slide is talking about, but also a couple of rows down on that same report, you're going to see 003, Special Cost Center 9022, Seven Hills monthly rentals, and that's where the monthly rentals come. Right below it, you see another cost center for the security deposit. And out of the $50,000 that Anderson Hills put down, we still have a balance of $46,542 to spend for capital repairs that we both agree on. So moving on with this report, we have here our summer projects, still from last summer, summer 2024. And the next slide details what is happening in summer 25 projects as of June 30th. But of course, we're going to have July here in just a minute.
Can I ask why we're still, when you say summer, we're now talking about 2 summers ago, correct? That there's the one encumbrance.
There's that one encumbrance.
The Turpin Auditorium lighting. Is there something,
So-
is there a holdout? There was a reason we're not.
There was not an issue with it. We were, believe it or not, some people don't bill properly, and we will not pay until we receive
Waiting
a.
for an invoice.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay. I
You
just
know,
wanted to
of
make sure
course,
there wasn't.
this is a little bit behind. You'll see we got an invoice for like 16,000 and paid that in July. At July, you're going to see there's 2,500 hanging out. That was taken care of at the beginning of August. So when we bring the August report, it will be the last time we all see this. Thank goodness. So, and of course, here are the numbers for this past summer. Moving on, item G presents the investment earnings at the end of our fiscal year 25 and also for 3 prior years of history. We earned $2.4 million in interest for our fiscal year 25, and that was up just very, very slightly over 24, about 0.5%. And of course, that interest is mainly deposited into the 003 fund, with the exception of food service, other funds that are statutorily required to receive interest, food service, 401, auxiliary funds, things like that.
Elena, how often do we review who our investment advisors are?
We,
Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. I mean, out of curiosity.
you know what, that's one of the things that we do review. That's one of the things going to seminars that both of them present at seminars. There's really 2 main
So
investment
most people in
advisors.
Ohio go to 1 of 2. so
Yeah,
it's
1
not
or
really-
2, plus banks. We do have some investments. We use Meter as our main investment provider, but we do have some investments through Fifth Third as well. So, but yeah,
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
that's certainly something we could take a
I
look
was
at.
just curious
Yeah.
if it made sense at some point to look at it and diversify further or take advantage of things. And I know there are restrictions on what we're allowed to invest in and all that stuff as well. So we may be better off sticking with one of the 2 state people because they know exactly what we're allowed to do and what we're not.
Yeah, we definitely want to stay with people who are used to the government
Right.
regulations. But
Exactly.
sounds like a topic for our finance committee.
Good thing Jason's running.
On top of it.
All right, moving on, let's see. Where are we at? Item H, I think it is. Yep. Item H is our June 30 bank reconciliation and investments. And that is the end of the June reports. Of course, also on board docs, you have your cash position report for June that we just
When you
referred
have
to.
insomnia.
Yeah.
Start looking at that.
So any questions on the June reports? Hearing none, we'll move on to July. All right, this is a pretty blank slide. July, most of our parents and staff are gone, so no donations starting in July. So folks are out getting some rest, relaxation, resting up for the year to come. May forecast is always slide number 2.
Could I ask a dumb question on this one, too?
Sure.
We have 3 historical years and 2 projected years. Why don't we have, like, the 24-25 year on this slide?
Wait a minute. What'd you say that again?
We have 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, and then 25, 26, 26, 27. We don't have 24, 25.
There's not? Uh-oh. Hang on. Let me take
I'm
a
like,
look.
I saw it on the June one, but I figured I'd wait till July.
I figured
You
it
know
was
why
based
it's
on what
not
we
on
had
there?
full
Because
numbers,
it's
we
over.
just finished.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was,
to
I didn't know if
be
the
able
heading was, the heading years were wrong, or if we should have a 6th column.
You know what? It gets to be kind of an odd year because this is a representation of what's on the forecast. And we actually have actual, and now the projected costs going forward. So, but you're right, it does kind of get a little bit
Just
weird this time of year, yeah.
It struck
It
me as
paints
be-
an incomplete picture, like
Yeah,
either in June, you know, you should have it in actual or in projected still, because you don't have, if you're not done with the numbers yet, if you haven't closed the books. But once you get to July's numbers, it should fall into last year, so we should have 4 years historical and then 2 years projected.
yeah,
I mean,
let us,
it
yeah.
just-
I
Let me
figured it
think
just
about
silly
took
to
a,
leave
took
out
a
the year
month
we're
or
currently
so to
talking
wrap
about.
everything up and create that was my thought, but I hear your point, yeah.
Yeah, I do too, and this is, yeah.
It just
We're gonna
seems
have to call this something else, because the
because
this
it
is
doesn't-
meant,
you're looking at it, and I'm like, well, I can't tell what's going on, because I'm missing data. And as everybody
Yeah.
knows, I like data.
don't want to, yeah, love data. So, yeah. All right, we can revise that and to put in,
Assuming everybody else
Yeah.
thinks that's a smart idea.
24, 25.
I will
We
admit
just,
that's
we
a
will
great
call
idea.
it something, we will call it something different and get that actual in there. Thanks for pointing
Jason
that
says,
out.
as the chair, Jason agrees. that It's a good idea. Well done.
All right. Moving on to the revenues, our 5-year forecast revenues, and that, of course, is comparing our estimate to what is on the forecast. So in July, we received just under $28 million in advances for our fall property settlement revenues. And remember, we get property taxes twice a year. And as the county collects the taxes, they make estimated payments that they refer to, they call those advances. They send us the revenues before they have done all their calculation as to the total property taxes we should receive. It takes them a couple months to do this. There's over 100 political subdivisions in Hamilton County that they have to sort through. But we appreciate the fact that they realize that we want to be the one receiving the interest on our funds. So they send this money to us. So we will get the final payout usually in late August or early September, but we have the majority of our money now, as you can see. We have 45% of what we would expect to receive for the entire year. Bottom line, July's a high cash flow month that we'll be spending down for the next 6. Moving on to the expenditure. So item D compares actuals to estimates, and 8% of the year is 1 month. And at the end of July, we have spent 8% of our expenditures. So right where we would expect to be. Again, the next one is our operating cash balance report. If you take a look at that, you see the balance at our beginning of our year is $31.2 million. High revenue month, spent $8 million that we would expect. Our ending cash balance at July 31st was $52 million. Encumbrances, a lot of encumbrances are done out for the rest of the year beginning in July. We have almost $10.8 million encumbrances, and our unreserved balance at July 31st is $41.6 million. So the revenues over expenditures was $21.2 million for the first month of the year. Moving on to the Permanent Improvement Fund. Again, item F here shows the activity just for the overall Permanent Improvement Fund. And then we've already talked about these. As you can see, we only have $2,500 left in the Turpin Auditorium, and that will be gone next month, along with this slide. Moving on to the summer 2025 slide, you can see we've got about half spent, half left in encumbrances. So projects are moving right along there. Item G presents the investment earnings for the first month of fiscal year 26. So starting out pretty strong with around $259,000 in investment earnings. That's a little bit down from last July, and we're looking at that on how we're going to make our estimates. It's about 20,000 less than last July. Our balance being a lot higher, so a lot of Star Ohio is about a percentage point.
Just investment performance.
Yeah, it's just with the reduction in the interest rates. So, but we'll keep our eyes on that as it goes forward. July 31st bank reconciliation and investments are on agenda item H. Agenda item I.
Hold on.
Oh,
I was bored today. I was bored today by faculty retreat, so I was looking at these today, so I apologize.
All right.
3 hours is a long time to sit and listen to accounting professors yet. I assume the outstanding checks and the other adjustments obviously are timing issues, and generally that full $936,000 or whatnot pretty much disappears, and it's a brand new set of reconciling items that appear the following month.
Yes, yeah. You know, at the end, we've had, that is just going to be reconciling items, outstanding checks.
I'm just making sure. My question, really, I don't care. The outstanding checks, I don't care. It's the other that I always hate the word other, because other can go for months and months and months and nobody looks at it. I know we get audited every year. I know you're on it, but I'm just saying.
Month to month, those balance out, and to be honest with you, I
it's just
couldn't
a
rattle them
timing.
off on the top of my head, but I can certainly bring you some more information on that
Sure,
next time.
responsibility to ask the question.
All right. Moving on to the next item, the appointment of building cashiers and athletic cashiers, summer school, food service cashiers, so on for the upcoming year. Item J is the annual request to make the once-a-year transfer to our workers' comp self-insurance fund for our upcoming fiscal year 26, so $150,000 into that fund, Fund 027. Item K, request board approvals of expenditures that did not issue a prior PO in accordance with the revised code section 5706.41D. And that concludes the July report. Any questions on the July report? Also, cash position
Mark asked
report
my question.
exists for your perusal. So that said, hearing no questions, I respectfully request that you approve my agenda item 11.1 in conjunction with the consent agenda, which begins with 8.1.
So moved.
May I get a motion to approve items 8.1 through 11.1?
Sorry, I'll move. I prematurely moved.
Second.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Dr. Simmons,
Yes.
Mrs. Jonas,
Yes.
Dr. Strickler.
I'm going to abstain. I had missed in item 8.1 that one Toby Biederman is included in supplemental contracts. So out of interest of not creating a conflict of interest, I'm going to abstain.
That's wise. Mr. Bibb,
Yes. Item 12.1,
For discussion.
board discussion, delegate appointing somebody for the Ohio School Board Association Annual Business Meeting in November.
That's not by any chance in Florida, is it?
It is not. I think it's in I'm fairly certain
I
it's
just
in Columbus.
wanted to, before I decided to put my foot forward, I figured I'd ask the question.
Fairly certain it's in
November
Columbus.
17th, yeah. I think I stepped in and did that last year. I don't mind doing it again. I would not be able to stay through Tuesday this year because of classes, but if that's a Monday meeting and it works for others, I don't mind going.
If she wants
Put
to
that
go,
on
I'm
the
not going
table.
to stop her.
And more than one of us can go, or you can have that role. It is not a super exciting meeting, in case anyone
It's
was
not like
wondering.
these?
It is a lot like these,
They have
actually.
food. They provide food.
Oh, I can be the alternate.
All right.
I can go on Monday as well if needed.
We don't need to vote on that, do we?
you can appoint.
Point.
Oh, I thought we just pointed.
We also need an alternate.
That's
The
Jason, I
format.
think,
Jason.
also. He
Jason,
alternated
oh,
himself.
okay.
Item 12.2, appointment of board representative for 2025.
Are we in 2020?
Which was,
Oh, the
is
student
that
sheet
the,
liaison.
I can give you a little background on that.
Yeah.
That is,
Now, that's the student achievement
it's a
liaison.
student achievement liaison, and you can look on the OSBA website that explains what the student achievement liaison does. Basically, the overall objectives, and they're short, so I'll read them to you. To share with fellow board members on a monthly basis information about ways to improve student success and promote student achievement within the district. 2, to encourage school board colleagues to keep student achievement at the forefront of board action. And 3, to participate in the student achievement activities held by OSBA, such as the Capital Conference event and regional events, and encouraging other board members to do that. So when I first started with the board, they would appoint someone, but there's really, unless you take the initiative, there's really no event to go to, there's no meetings, there's no nothing. So the board at that point, that's when this appointment was dropped. Well, as we went to prepare the board roster for this upcoming school year, it would not let us hit submit unless we have one. So we're coming to you so we can finish our roster and have someone fill this role.
And get any emails that you might get from
There you go.
OSBA.
Is it really
Yes.
for the, is it for the end of 25 or is it really for the school year, so it goes through June 30th next year, or
No, it's just for the end of 25.
just for the end of 25?
It'll-
Yeah,
'Cause you're
yeah,
supposed to do all
yeah.
those committees and
Every- and-
liaison
and
appointments
rest
in
of the
January.
yeah.
Well, if I'm already attending OSBA and I like to talk about student achievement, I don't mind being a liaison if this is a, you know, kind of a
I just didn't know if it went into next year.
title piece, unless somebody else is
It is.
burning for the opportunity.
There's no increase in pay.
Well, then yeah, because I'm definitely here for the pay. I am open, I'm not trying to own this if somebody else would like it, but I'm also happy to take that on. I love thinking about student achievement.
Yeah.
So, President
Okay
Bibb, you
with
can,
it.
you can support, you can point.
Point, Bob.
Point. Do I need an alternate? Mark this
You
down.
do not,
There you go.
just, you do not on this one.
Next up, board discussion. Does anybody have anything?
I have a few things, I know, I always have a few things. Apologies, but I do try to make them impactful. One, just because we haven't really had a chance to have a public meeting since June 30th and the biennial budget passed, I did just want to share as a community, because that was something that was very hair on fire for several months in the spring, and that we were talking about a lot and asking for advocacy on behalf of public schools. The budget is certainly not perfect. It certainly relies very, very heavily, as we saw in Alana's reports, on local tax dollars. So we would always continue to advocate for more equitable and adequate school funding from the state. However, thanks, I would argue in large part to some of Governor DeWine's vetoes that came through at the 11th hour in late June. We have not, as a district, been really harmed by the current biennial budget, which, to be honest, is kind of the best we were hoping for with everything that was coming at public schools. So the fact that we are fairly level in the grand scheme is a good thing right now. That doesn't mean some of the attempts to cut further funding couldn't reappear as the legislature comes back this fall. There are certainly other pieces we're still keeping our eyes on, but at the moment, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who advocated. It absolutely made a difference, and in the end, we came out able to continue to function in a way that we believe helps our kids thrive. So thank you very much for that. Secondly, Stacy brought up collaboration earlier, and so I just have a couple notes along those lines, same kind of thanks and acknowledgments. First, there is a great collaboration going on between the district, the Anderson Township trustees, and the park board through a steering committee looking at the needs and wants of our community when it comes to the Beach Acres property. How can we really work together and, you know, use our synergy to figure out what's the best use of that property for the school district, for the community as a whole? So we have had an open house, we've had focus groups, and there's a survey out in the community. If you have not yet seen it, look in the newsletters coming out from the district this Friday. That will probably be the last opportunity opportunity to do the survey. It's going to be closing down soon, but we want your voice to be heard in terms of what are the opportunities we want for our students, for all the kids in the community. This is a great, great opportunity we have with this, this land and the different groups coming together to collaborate. So please make sure your voice is heard on that front. And then finally, I just wanted to give a thanks, since we don't have a lot of shout outs yet as the buildings are just getting opening and running, to everyone who was involved in helping our kids thrive through last year and all summer long, to every booster group, the music boosters, athletic boosters, theater boosters, the YMCA and their involvement in helping our kids thrive, the Forest Hills Foundation for education and all the work, teacher grants, student grants, the Parent Academy to help all of us work together to the benefit of our kids, the Forest Hills Council, PTAs, PTOs across every building who have been pulling together events in the last week, every teacher, administrator, educator, parent who directed, produced, conducted, coached, taught summer subjects, ran camps, all of the different things that happened, and to all of the administrators and teachers who I know have been working this summer to make sure that we are ready for our kids to feel welcome and come back and have a great year. I really believe it takes a village, and I'm proud to be part of this one. So thank you, and apologies if I missed you. You're included in my spirit of thanks.
I just have a couple small things as well. I think sometimes I spend too much mental capacity thinking about the future of public education in Ohio and what it, all the stuff that's happening, what it means in our district. But this past week, I had the opportunity to go to convocation on Monday morning, and last night was at the Nagel Meet the Teacher event, and seeing the enthusiasm in the teachers' faces and the excitement of the students, and seeing students from last year coming back and seeing their teachers from the prior year, and the joy for those reunions just kind of is a good reminder of what this is and what our district is and what it means to our community and what we're fighting for when we talk about advocating for students, advocating for public funds to make sure we can keep succeeding at this level we're succeeding at. Larry mentioned earlier these awesome metrics, nationwide metrics. So we want to sustain those rankings for the benefit of our kids. So it's really special going to those events and seeing the teachers, seeing the students, seeing the excitement at the start of the year. I did also want to mention at our last special meeting on July 28th, we piloted our evaluation tool. We reworded some of the items. We met with the superintendent and treasurer to get some clarification on their roles related to some of the items. Feel like we have a solid instrument moving forward. Our plan is to do a mid-year evaluation in December on both the superintendent and treasurer positions. We'll be having another special meeting next month to work on a instrument to send out to support staff in the district that work with the superintendent and treasurer to help us make our evaluations a little bit more accurate. We're not there day to day in the offices, so we're not able to necessarily assess some of these things without feedback from some of the administrative staff that works with these two positions. So that's the next step coming up in our special meeting on August 16th, I think? September 16th, sorry.
I think night before a regular meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that's all I have on that.
The only thing I want to say is just to wish everybody a great 25-26 school year.
Here, here.
That was easy. A couple things real quick. One, I know we got the email from Larry about the book policy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something we will address at a future regular meeting, at a working meeting? Is that our thought process on that? That we'll go ahead and hit that up at some point? All right, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's going to be on the agenda at some point here in the next month or two.
I emailed Larry back. I do have some questions of some things I'd like to kind of tweak a little. I mean, I really like the revised policy. I think having some of those age-appropriate measures where we're using some independent third-party sources to give us that information on what's age-appropriate for children to read. Having parents having the ability to review what their children are checking out from the books. Awesome stuff. But I do think that when we go through the review process, and they're a huge step if a book were to be challenged or a book be questioned, it leans back on that controversial issues policy, which can be manipulated to, anything can be viewed as controversial. I can make a case that anything's controversial. So whether it's revisiting that policy to really think about specifically what are we talking about with controversial issues, or kind of thinking about how we can tweak some of that. But I do really appreciate the efforts that Larry, you and your team have put in on that.
And I just didn't know if that was going to be something we do during a working meeting versus
Probably should.
a board. I think it seems like it's a working meeting type of agenda item.
It was an administrative guideline change,
Yeah,
not a
it was an
policy change, so
administrative- it
there's
was just a
nothing we
law.
have to do
Yeah.
here per se.
We don't have to do. I just didn't know if
Correct,
we
yeah.
wanted to talk about it during a working meeting or something like
Sure we
that to
could.
allow everybody to
It's all-
express their opinions and
those.
whatnot.
Yeah.
I felt it's a big enough issue within the district that I thought it made sense for all of us to at least come together and be a working meeting and just make sure we're all on the same page and whatnot. So, all right, cool. 2, Alana and I are working. We're almost done. I'd like to present it actually at the working meeting in September. Hopefully, it won't take much time at all. Kind of our one-page summary document that I'd like to include on the front page of the website so that everybody can see financially, a huge step towards complete transparency of where we are financially, so people can see the history as well as the projections, not only financially, but as well as to incorporate the data about historical enrollment and future enrollment projections. And I know we're going to talk about that at a future meeting as well. And then staff projections as well, we'll include in all that. So I just wanted to, we're getting close.
Yep.
We're almost there.
Out there.
And I think I mentioned to everybody with that, whether it might be a better special board meeting
Right.
just for that.
For that.
I'd like to invite.
There's some interesting stuff in
invite-
there.
There's some really neat information,
Yes,
and I
for
think it
sure.
would be good just to have one. And so I'll have Jody get a hold of you,
Yeah.
try to work up some dates, and
Yeah.
if you're okay with that, and
That'd be great.
because
That's
I
great.
think it'd be really good to have the person that put that together in the
Pop
company.
in and,
Whether they virtual.
I mean, I can, I know. We'll just find the date. Let's make sure they know what the future think when they're available, and then we can try to coordinate a date around
Yeah.
that.
If you're good with that.
Oh, that's,
If it's the same day as our special meeting.
that'd be great.
Good.
Check- yeah,
I
check them
won't
out.
think
Have-
it'd
have
take
Jody check it out
long,
and see
but
if
I
they're
wanna
around.
make sure you have an opportunity to ask any
Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
questions
I
on
got no
any of
problem
that
with that. There
data
goes my extra $80.
that's there.
You guys are trying to deprive me of an extra meeting here because my money. Couple other real quick things. One is just, it came to mind today when I was sitting at my lovely, as you heard, very exciting faculty meeting. And in the accounting department, we have this business advisory group that just kind of helps us and practitioners and whatnot that are in there doing things. I didn't know, do we have a business advisory group, something out there anywhere? I didn't know if it was something we should think about having something like that. You see them, we have it at the department level, we have it at the college level, we have it at the university level, certainly. I just didn't know if it was something that made sense for us to look at. I don't want to be, I would not have it be a big group. I mean, just 5 to 7 folks, just to bounce different things off and just listen to their opinions. Obviously, it's an advisory, so they don't have any say in anything, but you have experts in different fields that might be able to give us a little bit more lay of the land. So anyway, just another, my last thought. In my,
Been trying to get that group together since we started in 22. And
Okay, I
I
didn't-
think it'd be really great to have business advisory again.
So,
Thank you
good.
for bringing that up.
Oh, sure. My last thing, thank you for those of you who participated in Hawaiian night tonight. If the rest of the district was unaware,
I would wear this on a beach.
we are gonna have theme nights for the rest of the year. Next month is going to be red, white, and blue night. Since we will be meeting right after 9/11, I thought the red, white, and blue would be a good thing to have on the 17th during our meeting. So I just want to make sure not only we were aware, including the administrators over there,
We decide this?
but I appointed myself. I appointed myself as wardrobe director. And so anybody else who wants to pop in on the 17th, feel free to support and wear the red, white, and blue. Thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow's a little bittersweet for me. I have a freshman and a senior. It's the first time in 6 years both kids will be in the same school, which is
That's a good thing.
nice. Less communications and emails and things like that. But I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe, successful school year.
Absolutely.
All of you.
Agreed.
Anything else?
I hope not.
Yeah, before we adjourn, Stacy, what was that salutation you used at convocation? No. Word to your
Word
mother?
to your mother.
Not that one.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mother. I'm trying to muster up the courage to use that as a sign off on my emails.
Word to your mother? Wow.
I like
All right. Our next meeting will be on, next regular scheduled board meeting will be on Wednesday, September 17th. May I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yep.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
8:17.